Hello and welcome to You Don't Know Jack. We are the Outsiders Looking In. My name is Chris Brown,
And I'm Heber Maitland.
and this is Season 3, Episode 11. We're recording on June 9th, 2020. A rainy Tuesday afternoon, but we actually have some good news to report finally for I don't know, I feel like it's been forever, but it's only been about 3 months without sports.
Yeah.
Just I'm sure you heard this term a million times, but it's just crazy times out there. Crazy times. Um, Unprecedented, right?
Yeah.
That's the word. Unprecedented
I
times.
don't, I don't like the word unprecedented. It's not. Every time somebody says unprecedented, it's a bad thing, not a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. That means it's never been done before.
Mm.
Yeah, not interested in that right now. I want 2020 to go back to normal. But listen, we actually have some sports to talk about, so I'm excited about that. Everyone has an opinion when it comes to sports, but I think that we should just sit back, relax, and enjoy the uncertainty of sports and entertainment around the world because I don't know and you don't know Jack.
Jack.
Let's get into a quick moment of silence. This is very sad news coming out of Florida. Former San Diego Charger, or Los Angeles Charger, and New England Patriots wide receiver Reese Caldwell was killed in Tampa, Florida. The police have ruled it a homicide. Um, Hugh, do you have the day on which this happened? I think
This
it was over the
this
weekend,
yeah,
right?
this happened over the weekend. I know it was 2 o'clock in the it was 2 o'clock in the morning. I'll get that information, but yeah, he was. There's very little that was said about this. The police aren't really, you know, kind of releasing everything that's going on. They
Mm-hmm.
just ruled it a homicide, and that's where they left it. They're not releasing how he died, you know, who's
Yeah,
involved, any of that kind of thing, because it's so fresh. But at the end of the day, um, a life is another life is lost. So
yeah,
just got to remember
yeah,
that.
definitely. He was 41 years old. Um, he had I want to say a daughter, but I'm not seeing the his children pop up right now. His family is asking for donations for his child's college fund, the children that he'll be leaving behind. Um, and it's just a sad thing. Hopefully, more details will be released soon, but
Mm,
it's just sad to see this happen. You don't want to see anybody shot and killed, especially with everything that's going on.
exactly.
It's just another horrible thing to happen in 2020. I'll say that.
Yeah, 2020 has not ceased to be more and more of a disappointment. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Caldwell finished his career with 152 receptions for 1,851 yards and 11 touchdowns in 71 games.
was he?
Oh man.
I believe he was a champion too. Um, no, he was not because he lost that game to the Colts in 2006. That's right.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but
So no, but a solid career, and it's just kind of sad to see it end so soon. 41 years old. I think hate to bring it all the way around, but I think Kobe was 40, 41 as
mm,
well. So
yeah.
yeah, it's
Well,
tough.
now that I just pulled up the TMZ uh, website where they first reported Kobe Bryant's death, and now they're
Mm-hmm.
reporting Reese's death. They said that here there's a line again. This is TMZ.com. Uh, Reese's girlfriend, Reese, his girlfriend, says the former player was ambushed by a couple of people who jumped out of the bushes trying to rob him. Uh,
Mm.
they were told that he was shot in the leg and the chest. And unfortunately, the injuries were so severe that his mother said that he died in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. So,
Oh, geez.
yeah, so It's
It's just
tough.
a senseless crime right now. I know people are hurting all over the world, but yeah, the violence is definitely not the answer. So
Yeah,
tough. He leaves behind a
that's
family, so that's not
that's
good.
yeah. That's let's just take a breath because 2020 we need a breath. You need to take a break.
Yeah,
So everybody go on
everybody's out.
vacation. Go to Tahiti. It's fun.
I wish. I wish we all had the means to get there, right? We're gonna take a quick moment of silence for Reese Caldwell, and then we'll try to transition into some sports. All right. Oh man. We may not be going to Tahiti, but guess what? A lot of people are going to Orlando, Florida.
Let's
The
go.
Sunshine State is going to be kind of like the epicenter for so many sports um, in the next 6 months or so. I actually
Yes,
tweeted about this on the YDKJ podcast Twitter account. Make sure you follow that. Make sure you also follow us on Instagram at YDKJ podcast. Um, I tweeted this about a month or two ago when they were talking about, Phoenix, Montana, some other places were in the discussion as well. But I was like, just Walt Disney World, the wide world of sports makes so much sense. ESPN obviously is owned by, I believe, ABC, which is Disney. They're all in it
obviously,
together.
obviously.
They're all in it
Disney owns
together. It's a
everything.
huge,
You
yeah, it's a
know,
huge conglomerate, huge
mm.
conglomerate. So
They're like playing Monopoly out here. It's like they should have a Disney version of Monopoly, which they do.
yeah,
So
yes, exactly, exactly. I wonder if do they have a sports monopoly? I'm sure they do have that as well. It should just be
actually,
ESPN and ABC just taking everything up.
speaking of that, I'm glad that you brought that up.
Okay.
I have a new segment that I want to
Ooh, new
introduce.
segment, new segment, new
Um,
segment.
and this won't be in this segment. This won't be in this episode. But going forward, let me know on our
Our
platform.
socials.
Yes, if you want to have trivia, because I have a game that I just bought. It is
Nice.
NFL trivia, of course, but I'm looking into getting more trivia for other um, sports and whatnot. So if
Hmm.
you are interested in having a segment of trivia, let us know on our socials.
Yeah, yeah, without a doubt. Um, I, I think that's a great idea. I think that we should have if people are interested in it and if it actually takes, I think we should have trivia and prizes, man. What's better than some sports trivia and some prizes?
You
That's
know,
the best of both worlds.
exactly. Well, here we
So
go.
stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for
Exactly.
that. And stay tuned to ESPN and Orlando, Florida. Like I mentioned before, Disney is it's just kind of cleaning up. They have that huge complex down there. They host a lot of tournaments for college kids as well as high school kids,
Hmm.
all types of sports: baseball, soccer, basketball. So two major leagues are going down there. We're going to talk about the NBA first. The NBA is coming back. And Hugh, you actually did a lot of research on this. Do you want to take this one? And
Yeah.
I'll kind of fill in the gaps with the MLS and NHL.
Okay. Yeah, the NBA is officially coming back. Well, officially, tentative on how the coronavirus is going to affect.
Hey,
Uh,
no second wave, man. No second wave.
well, they're saying that cases are going up all over the place, contributed
Yeah.
by the protests that have been happening. That's obvious when people are in close proximity there will be cases that go up, especially with this kind of
Yeah.
contagious infection. But yeah, they're saying that if all goes well, the NBA should be back in play or by the end of July, early August. There's going to be 22 teams
Yep.
playing out of the 30. So the bottom, however many, 8 teams, I guess, left are just
Yep.
going to just have an early summer, early, training camp comes early for you guys because guess what? 2020 to 2021 season begins Christmas.
Yeah.
So or December after Christmas.
Yeah, late
So
December.
so it's going to be interesting how that plays out. But yeah, so it's going to be eight 8 game regular season. The determining factor for the playoffs is based on the winning percentage of each team.
Mhm.
Obviously, the first 16 that are already in the playoffs, they obviously are the first, I should say, 14, since the eighth spot is still going to be up for grabs.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, they're going to play 8 games in the regular season, and then they're going to have, if the season ends in a tie or it's too close to call or whatever, they're going to have a playoff tournament for that
Mhm.
eighth seed spot.
Yeah, for the East and the
So
West.
right, and so from what I read, that they're going to have, if the team that's on top wins, they are in. If the team that's on the bottom wins, they have to win twice to get in.
Yeah.
So it's basically like double elimination if you are in the winning spot, if you're in the eighth seed already, and it's
Yeah.
a tie. So yeah, it's going to be an
It's
interesting way
cool.
of doing things. Like you said before, I think the theme of this whole thing is unprecedented because we ain't never seen nothing like this.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's kind of cool. I like the formats. Obviously, this is going to be a one-time thing, hopefully.
Yes.
But I kind of like that they're mixing it up a little bit, and maybe some of this stuff will actually stick for future seasons down the
Oh,
road.
hopefully not the
Uh,
coronavirus. So no, I hope that don't stick. But other than
no, no.
that,
But the innovative way in which the leagues are trying to finish up their seasons and get people into the playoffs. You mentioned that the 8 teams that were not invited to Orlando, their basically their season ended a couple months ago, and so they're going to
yes.
have a 9 month layoff until the season restarts. The 2020-2021 season
I
restarts
mean,
in
they're
December.
like you said, they're in Tahiti, they're in Hawaii, they're just chilling right now.
Well, I was
Well,
going to
not
say,
right now.
actually they're not happy about it. The reports are coming out that they're not happy about it, and they're concerned. A lot of these teams have younger players, so they're concerned that there's not a good chance for them to develop. I think when the coronavirus really hit the NBA and they had to shut things down, there were probably 20 or so games left,
Mm.
and roughly for most teams. Um, so they're actually thinking about getting together and scrimmaging or doing something like that.
As they
And
should. You got to keep yourself in
yeah,
shape. You got to keep yourself ready to go, because when the season starts, and it'll be like, oh, what did you do?
right,
I sat down. I watched or I played Madden, and I just chilled all day. There's none of that once the season
yeah.
starts.
Well, yeah, they've been playing 2K for how long? ESPN has been
Exactly.
putting that on
That's
on
gonna
the
be a problem.
airwaves.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, and I think it makes sense. Some people are calling it the losers tournament or whatever. It's a hard thing to do logistically. Obviously, you have the coronavirus concern, so it's not just
Yes.
like you just let them go scrimmage. You have issues where you actually need to make sure everybody's safe when they're also
Yes.
exercising. So
Yes.
we'll see what comes out of that. Obviously, if you're the 8 teams left out, you're kind of like, I knew I wasn't going to make the playoffs, but at the same time, it just feels weird that you're not invited. Everybody wants to be a part of
I mean, they're
the
invited.
group,
They can
part of
sit
the
in the
band.
stands. They can sit. They can sit in the stands, and you
Yeah.
know, and I don't know. They're not gonna get paid to sit there. They got to pay. But I mean, you're invited.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they'll have some NBA credentials they could give them, but they are going to try to keep the whole campus as secure as possible or locked down as possible. I don't know how that is going to work at all. That is going to be a mystery to me. The one thing that I read the other day is that MLS is also going to be at um, the Wide World of Sports at Walt Disney World. Um, and that just to me is a huge conflict to have two major leagues in the same area for. I mean, MLS is only going to be there for about a month. Then they're trying to reopen their home stadiums. But I think that's going to be very interesting to see if they can truly lock down that area.
Well, I mean,
Um,
it's crazy because they're planning on opening the parks for people to go to. So I mean, it's not
mhm.
like everybody's
Yep.
going to be passing everybody either anyway. So
Yeah.
I just don't know how
Well,
that's going to
so
work.
this is a separate complex from the parks, but
I mean,
you
it's
how are
still
you
the
going to
same
keep them
thing,
away from the parks? How
right?
are you going to keep them
Exactly.
away from the parks? Especially if for some strange reason they have their family with them. Like, yeah, I'm really interested to see what happens. Obviously, we are praying that there isn't a second wave of the coronavirus, but we'll see. We
Yeah.
will see. There have been a lot of spikes, like you said, in the recent weeks. So, anyways, we want to talk about sports. Sports are coming back. Hopefully, they come back all the way. The playoffs will be for at least for the NBA. The playoffs, like you said, I think you said this earlier. They'll be in mid-August to late August,
Yes.
with the NBA finals happening around September 30th. So
Yes.
end of the season would officially be October 12th. So very it's just an interesting, strange situation that we're dealing with, and the NBA is making the best out of it. Hopefully, everything goes according to plan, and they can see it all the way through.
And that's all they can do. I mean, especially with this situation, again, unprecedented. So
Yep.
at the end of the day, I think they're doing what they can. They're bringing sports back slowly, and
Yep.
as we can see in this country, we need something, anything.
Anything to keep our minds off of so some serious stuff that's going on. We'll get into all of that. But yeah, we definitely need a distraction. I want to take this opportunity to shout out my blog post that I put up,
Go ahead,
officially
son. You do it. You do
put
you.
on. Yeah, I'll try. I'll try. We'll see how this goes. I'm already fumbling the pitch, but yeah, I wrote a blog post and I put it up on Monday morning. You can go take a look at it, ydkjpodcast.com. It is called The Restart. I want to do a little bit of a series. Part one, um, like I said, I put up on Monday. It's just kind of, when will live sports be back? Kind of giving a timeline of when to expect things to come back. Different leagues. I'm going to try to hit at least the four major leagues, then do a little bit of international soccer because I think what's good is that live sports are coming back, and then also the way they're handling fan interaction is really unique. They're using technology and Zoom calls, like we're using Zoom right now. Wish they would sponsor so we didn't have to pay, but it's going to be.
Shout it out.
Yeah, I saw that come out of our account and I was like, ooh, yeah, that'll be nice.
That
But
hurts. Yeah.
yeah, they're letting the fans kind of cheer on their team. They're talking about pumping in sounds, which I think is kind of interesting. They're going to use like the video game artificial intelligence
Mm.
to kind of react to things that happen within the game. Like it's then the fan sound is going to be pumped into the stadium.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's strange but cool. Strange but cool. I would have never guessed if somebody had told me this was how 2020 was going to play out. I was like, nah, only in the movies. But here we are.
Hey, we are in the movies right now.
Seriously. One note on MLB. MLB. Actually, are we going to talk about that a little bit later?
You can talk about it. You go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I'll mention this. The MLB draft is happening. So tomorrow, June 10th, and I think Thursday, June 11th. MLB draft is going to take place.
Oh, you.
Still don't understand the MLB draft, but
Mm.
for those of you who really want to look at the prospect that may end up on I guess, a farm team or playing football, at Oklahoma. Isn't that what
Sure,
Kyler Murray did
sure. I guess.
after after he got drafted?
I don't yeah, I do no.
Yeah, it's just a very strange way the MLB draft works, and I guess the rights to the player contract work. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could
that's
go.
something to look forward to.
Yeah, we can go ahead and go into what we've discussed about the MLB, about their proposed pay cuts across the board.
Yep.
Players aren't necessarily happy about that because when you cut their money, you cut their livelihood, and some of these people
Mhm.
have multi-billion-dollar homes, million-dollar homes, but
Million.
um, yeah. So I know you have a little more information about that than I do.
Yeah, just a little bit, not too much. We don't know Jack, but
You know,
hopefully some of the listeners will tell us what we don't know. I know a lot of people are into baseball. It's not my strong suit, but I have been looking into what's going on. The negotiations with ownership and players is not going well. They are just not very happy with excuse me, the players are not very happy with what the owners wanted to do as far as pay cuts. Obviously, when you don't have a full 182 game season, there's going to be some proration with the contract salaries. Most athletes, most contractors get paid per, you know, game. So if you're not going to play as many games, you're not going to get paid as much. But on top of that, the owners also want to reduce that salary. So right now, the latest negotiations have the owners saying they want to pay 75% of the salary for a potential 76 game season. And players are not having it. I don't even know where I stand on this. Like, and part of me is like, okay, I can understand not wanting to lose money. If you're going to play the games, just pay me all of the money for the games I play. But at the same time, owners keep saying that their teams are not doing well. Like, for some strange reason, they don't have enough money to survive if they have to pay the full amount. Like, how do you feel about that, Hugh?
um, my first question would be: are the owners going to take a pay cut too?
That's what I
Um,
thought about
because
that.
if the owners aren't willing to take the pay cut, but
Hmm.
they're asking the players to take the pay cut,
Yeah,
absolutely not.
yeah,
Uh, Actually, what should happen is the owners should pay the players out of their own pockets, since the owners are billionaires,
yeah,
and have the money to do that. They have the money. It's not that they don't have the money. It's the fact that they don't want to. They don't want to. They don't want to come out of their pocket to
yeah,
fund. And it goes to show how good an organization is run, because
yeah,
if I'm an owner and I know my players are committed to me and committed to my fan base and are doing what they need to do, I have no
yeah.
problem paying their full salary. I know that you play hard every single day. You come to work,
Mm,
you take care of your body every time that you are at the facility. You all that is a responsibility that you have. And so if
yeah,
you're going to do that for me, then I have no problem uh, uh, paying you the full salary or making sure you get what you earned.
yeah,
Now, if the owners are taking a pay cut, then we can probably talk about it. But then again, it goes into the situation of who's managing the manager. Uh, so if the owner says we're taking a pay cut, who's to go back and check the books and really say, is he really taking a pay cut?
yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm leaning towards give the players what they signed up for. They didn't sign up for, even with unprecedented things that are happening. They didn't sign up
yep,
to get a portion of their salaries. They didn't sacrifice themselves. They don't work hard for nothing.
yeah.
They deserve 100% of their salary, and so
Gotcha.
I'm all for it. Give them whatever you've agreed to pay them.
Yeah, yeah. It's a weird thing when you were agreed to this contract, And so, do you have to honor it in times of a quote unquote emergency or not? And it's tough, man. It's tough. But I agree with what you're saying. Like it should be 75%. If that's what you're offering the players, it should be that for everybody.
Right.
Maybe not for like the stadium attendance if there are any stadium, event staff. But as
No, it
far
should be
as
across the board. Everybody's getting a pay cut.
yeah,
The water boy, uh, who
the
else? The
bat boy,
electrician, exactly. The electrician, the PA announcer.
the
Everybody
mascot.
everybody across the board is getting a pay cut. I don't care what they say. Everybody's getting a pay cut.
Yeah, yeah, it's tough. I mean, you're talking about potentially having zero revenue from tickets. So, what do you do? What do you do to make up that deficit? Obviously, sports, or excuse me, not sports, but TV ratings will be up, but it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough.
Well, I mean, you still have merchandise sales. So you have like jersey sales. You got, you know, I don't know if baseball does shoe deals. I mean, I assume they do.
Yeah, they do.
Cleats. I'm not for certain because like you said, baseball is not my strong suit.
Yeah, we don't know Jack.
So
We don't know Jack.
I
But we're
will
filling
admit,
this time. I will say we are filling this time for with the MLB content. Got to give the
yeah.
people what
So
they want.
give the people what they want. But it's just one of those things. I just if you're going to be fair, be fair. If you know who's to determine what the owners are doing, because nobody, if you're an owner, nobody beneath you is going to question what you do. Well,
Yeah,
they will question, but they have no authority to do anything about it. I mean, look
yeah,
at the NBA. I mean, you have players that sit out. Not NBA, NFL. I mean NBA too, but NFL. You have players that sit out. I mean, one comes to mind is Dalvin Cook. Just popped up on my timeline. He's sitting out because
yeah,
he wants what he's paid, what he signed up to, what he just thinks he deserves to get paid. And I agree with
yeah.
that. Like if you think you're worth, I mean, you put the time in, you put, and the stats prove
Mhm.
that you put the work in.
Yeah,
You deserve to demand more money. I mean, I go to work. If I'm doing an excellent job, I don't expect to stay at whatever wage I'm at for 10, 15 years down the road. That's
yeah,
not that is dumb on my part.
yeah. And and especially in Dalvin's case, they're like a whole new team when he's on the field. So
Exactly.
yeah, that's going to be an interesting situation as well. Well, I hope MLB kind of figures it all out. I hope the two sides are able to negotiate and come to an agreement that everybody's happy with. It would be nice to see some baseball. They talked about potentially having opening day on Independence Day, which would have been really cool and really patriotic. But that seems like an impossibility at this point. It's just too late in the game. So I don't know. I don't know about I don't know about MLB. I don't know about Major League Baseball. They may struggle to get started, which is kind of crazy. They may just cancel the season. There's actual precedent for this one. In 1994, the owners just shut down the season over a labor force issue,
Mm.
or they basically pay, right? They didn't want to pay them what they were paying them, and um, negotiations just deteriorated, excuse me. And yeah, so they actually shut down the 94 season completely. Hopefully that doesn't happen this time around. Like I said, people need a distraction. Like you said, people need something to cheer for. So
Well, I mean,
we'll see what happens there.
you have that, but then again, we don't. I just think sports in general. If it shouldn't be a distraction to the point where we're missing the point of everything. So you know
Yeah,
in sports we still have these things, like the kneeling, the national anthem, this stuff, and and that, and it's a distraction, but we don't want to overshadow what's really going on. And so I just want to throw that in there, just kind of interject a little bit.
Yeah. Um, Sports are still not the real world, but I think we learn so many things through sports, especially if you play sports,
Mm,
and then also just the stories around people overcoming things, right?
right,
People standing for what they believe in, people being beacons of light. All of that shines through a sports lens, and it's able to kind of impact a huge audience compared to just usually your local community.
right,
So yeah, sports has a major place in society, but it should always hone in on what we're actually dealing with in every day-to-day life. Just want to touch quickly on the NHL. They are having a 24-team conference-based playoff format. Usually, it's was it 16 teams that make it, I believe.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Usually it's 16 teams, but they're actually going to chop off their regular season, go straight into a tournament style round robin playoff, um, and then cut it down to those 16 teams. And yeah, I'm excited to see that. It's weird. I love playoff hockey. I love playoff baseball. The intensity is always so high, and everybody is just on their game. So we are going to have a crazy fall if the NFL comes back as well. Just think about how many sports will be going at once. You got golf, you got soccer, you got basketball, baseball, football. Um, it's going to be a
Ultimate
sports
frisbee.
that too. That too. I'll watch a little bit of that. My boy Marquez Brownlee may be out there. Yeah,
I
nobody
like the
knows who
way
that
that
is.
you threw a name out there because I'm not good at names, so you just threw that name out there, which was remarkable. Thank you for
I
for that.
mean, I only know one, but I've watched a little bit of Ultimate Frisbee on ESPN. I'm telling you, it's the sport of the future. It's the sport of the
That's what
future.
they
It's
said like 10
hilarious.
years ago when it first came out. They said that's the good sport of the future, and we're still struggling to get it off the ground. It's I mean, whatever.
Yeah. It's gonna come. It's gonna come around and be a big deal, just like soccer is now a big deal in America. All right, I think that would do it for most of our shout outs, unless you have anything else.
No, it's just raining now. So I just heard that. So shout out to the rain. Let's
Yeah.
continue.
Hopefully, it's not a thunderstorm. So, but you know who's bringing the thunder? No. Okay. Nobody.
Yeah,
I wish I had the crickets.
yeah, exactly. I'd have played the crickets.
Well, you may have missed it, but the one, the only Mike Tyson is considering, or I guess it's final, right?
I
He's
think
actually
it's
coming out of
final.
retirement.
Yeah, I think it's.
Oh man.
Don't quote me on that,
Okay.
but
We don't know Jack.
I've seen the videos of him training.
Yes.
I've
And he looks
seen it.
good. He looks
He
fast. He
looks
looks lean.
he looks incredible right now. I feel like he could beat anybody out there. I feel like he could even beat Floyd Mayweather if he wanted to. Uh, he
Yeah.
he looks that good. 53 years old and still going. I mean,
Yeah,
hey,
man, if I could look that good right now, man.
what are you
I'm
talking
working
about?
on it though.
You look good, Chris. You look good.
Nah, there's a difference between looking good and actually being healthy. So, but we won't go there. We won't go there. Yeah, Mike Tyson. The videos surfaced on what his Instagram and
Yeah,
maybe his Twitter.
yeah.
But yeah, he wants to fight. He wants to get back in the ring. Last I heard, there were contract negotiations for an event where he would do bare knuckle fighting. Is that correct?
I did not see that. Um, so yeah, I don't know Jack on that one. I just
Gotcha.
saw the videos of him training and heard the rumors of him coming out of retirement at 53, and there's some competition out there that wants to kind of get at him, but then again, nothing has really been announced yet. So You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think um, if it worries me, I'll be real. It worries me. I think Mike Tyson is probably one of the best pound for pound fighters ever. Probably top four at least. You know, on the Mount Rushmore of heavyweight fighters. But
Mhm.
I just think at 53 it's dangerous, man. Yeah, and I don't know if you heard about this, but now Evander Holyfield wants to come out of
Yes,
retirement too.
I did hear that too.
Yeah.
And they're
So
trying to promote of Holyfield versus Tyson fight. That's not been announced.
wow.
That's not been, it's just they're trying to push it though. They're trying to push that narrative so that it actually can happen. I mean, the same thing happened with what was it? Connor and it's not who fought Manny Pacquiao. It was Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao, right?
Yeah, Floyd and Manny Pacquiao. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was the big one.
that that was kind of a pushed into existence. And
Yeah.
so now they're trying to do the same thing with this, and I'm sure it'll happen eventually. I mean, Evander's he's up there in age too, so we could see something remarkable happen here in a little bit.
Yeah, this would be part 3 of a very, popular saga. I mean, this is
Hmm.
like everybody knows that Mike Tyson, bit the ear off of Holyfield in the middle of a match. Well,
Yeah,
a piece of Holyfield's ear,
yeah.
um, he actually bit off in the middle of a boxing match, and they just kept going and kept fighting. One of the first introductions to boxing for me, I remember as a kid, I'll never forget it. Just my uncles being excited because they actually re-aired it on ESPN. It was such a big deal at the time. But yeah, I think I would watch it just for the nostalgia.
Hmm.
But they're 53 and 57. Like
Yeah,
Holyfield is 57. I
yeah,
I just don't want anybody to pass away in the ring. We've already had two people pass away in the last year,
yeah.
right? Two fighters pass
Well, I
away.
mean, they
Not in
did
the
pick
ring per se, but yeah,
they did pick a sport that is very, very dangerous. So
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, that just comes with me. It's like football. You play football. You get paid handsomely for
Hmm.
playing football, but it doesn't discount that it's one of the most violent sports on the face of the planet. Uh,
Oh yeah,
besides besides the gladiator fights back in the day when you went in Rome when they were fighting each other with swords and stuff.
yeah,
This is up there. The football's up there. Same thing with
yep.
boxing and MMA fighting and all that. They're all dangerous.
Very, very dangerous. Yeah, you know what you're signing up for when you sign a dotted
Exactly.
line. Um,
Exactly. So I
you
mean,
can consider some of that hazard pay at this point.
exactly. I mean, we feel bad for the people that passed away and all this stuff, but they knew what the risks were. If you were if you were that cautious about it, you probably wouldn't have done it in the first place. So,
Yeah, I think some people are in not necessarily in a spot to not fight, or they fall in love with the glory and everything like that. But yeah, it's tough. Everybody dreams of being in the ring or being on the field and battling with the greats. So it's a tough thing to really um, steer people away from, right?
yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
really and truthfully, man, if you had the chance to play in college or play in the NFL, you would definitely consider it, right?
Oh, I'd have been in there 5 years ago. I,
you almost you
I'd have
almost
been.
played semi-pro.
I did. I was this close, and
Yeah,
then medical conditions happened. So
yeah,
that kind of killed it. But yeah, I was close. There was semi-pro league down here down here where we live in Chattanooga. So
yeah, yeah.
it was close.
It's a tough thing, but yeah, you know the risks, and hopefully if they do it in a safe manner. I would like to see it, but at the same time, I'll be kind of nervous the whole time. It would be a weird feeling as I go through and I watch this match.
Hmm.
So
Definitely.
that's something that's on the horizon to keep a watch out for. One other thing I didn't mention at the top of the show, we are missing one from the crew. Randy is not with us, Mr. Horton. Mr. Horton
What?
is not with us, but he's good. Everything's okay. Just some scheduling conflicts, and he should be back on the next recording. So shout out to
Hey,
Randy.
it's all groovy, baby. It's all groovy. No, that's not what he said. Chocolate cake, baby. It's all chocolate cake. There we go. I got it.
Oh man, yeah, you would
See,
know.
he's still here. He's still here.
Yeah, we should phone him in. I'm sure he got a minute or two, but nah. Well, we'll catch him in the next one, and we will move on to the headline news of the week. Well, maybe not this week because we did take some time off, trying to fix some stuff up, get everything ready to go for the restart.
Oh yeah.
But this happened about 2 weeks ago, May 24th.
Yes, it happened. It happened a couple weeks ago. Um, our uh, I want to say something negative, but I'm not going to because you know this was a good event, and I'm proud that uh, there were representations of greatness being represented in the charity game. So May 24th, there was a golf charity game that happened. The golf game was for the coronavirus. They were raising money. They ultimately raised $20 million for coronavirus relief. That was happening.
Awesome.
So they went out and did that. Peyton Manning and Tom Brady were the big names. The other side of those big names, their teammates, Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods. Tom Brady was paired up with Phil
Yes.
Mickelson, and Peyton Manning was squared up with Tiger Woods.
Yep.
And so, I mean, it's golf at the end of the day. I mean,
The greatest sport on the planet.
I mean, I can watch some of it. I can watch a few rounds of it.
Yeah.
I'd much rather play it than watch it. Let's just be honest with that. But yeah.
Hey, we're supposed to be getting Top Golf. That's gonna be interesting.
I don't know what that is.
It's like a oh gosh, how do I explain it? It's you're at the driving range basically, and you have to try to hit the ball into certain sections, and you get points, and you can like play against each other.
Ooh, that'd be cool. Yeah,
Yeah, it's actually really cool.
I probably because at work I talked about golf with some of my colleagues, and we discussed how the technique in golf is so advanced. Everybody thinks golf is easy. It's not.
No.
It is not easy. Golf
No.
is a game of technique and about finesse. How it's not about how hard you hit the ball. It's about where you hit the ball,
Yes.
and
Yes.
you know the contact point that makes it go.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm pretty strong. I'm a pretty strong guy, and I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
I can't hit the ball 300 yards down the green. I can't do that. So
You should check out some of those golf driving competitions. Like you see a bunch of the guys who are jacked, and all they do is drive the ball, try to drive it like 350 yards or 400 yards. It's actually really fascinating.
wow, no,
Um,
I'd be embarrassed to even step on the field with those guys. I mean, it's crazy, but
yeah, I could
yeah,
barely hit the ball.
yeah, I'm right there with you. So yeah, the Tiger Woods obviously with Peyton Manning won the game, won the charity event, and like I said, they
Let's
raised
go.
$20 million for the relief. It did attract an average of 5.8 million viewers across the networks, which tells you how bad people miss sports. Because if you're watching a celebrity golf game, and we didn't even get to the good part. The good part is, well, it's not good for Tom Brady, but it's good for us.
Embarrassing. It was an embarrassing part.
Exactly. Tom Brady did end up tearing his pants down the backside in one of the holes, bending down to get the ball.
I'm
So
not gonna
that
lie to you, man. That's one of my worst fears. Like, because they wear weird pants, like tight pants, and that's one of my worst fears when thinking about playing golf or something like that. A
yeah
wardrobe malfunction.
yeah. So it's one of those things. I was just like, I mean, it's happened to me before. I will say that it's happened to me before. Not playing golf, probably doing something a little bit more embarrassing, like in school. But
Yeah, exactly.
it was good to kind of see the camaraderie, the legends, because Peyton Manning is a legend. He
Oh
is
yeah.
he is one of the greats. Tom Brady obviously is the great right now in NFL history, with six
Hmm.
championships. So them coming together and kind of doing this for the community to help, not even just community, globally, because
Yeah.
it's a global issue.
Pandemic.
It's
Yeah.
a global issue. So for them to come together and raise $20 million, I know that's in the grand scheme of things very small,
Yeah.
but it is still significant. Every penny counts, and we appreciate everything that they've done up to that point.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So I think Tiger Woods is, like you said earlier, a great. Peyton Manning is great. I think a lot of people had just there was pent up demand for a live sporting event. Um, and then obviously the embarrassing moment with Tom Brady. It had everything that a sporting event should have. I
Exactly.
compare it a lot to what happened when Phil and Tiger went against each other. I think it was on Thanksgiving or the day after Thanksgiving.
Hmm.
Um, that was kind of not a risky move, but like just a new way of doing things. I think people had to pay. It was almost like a pay-per-view match. People had to pay $20 to watch it, and there were some glitches along the way, but they still got like 750,000 concurrent users at one point. This got 5.8 million, or average. You said average about 5.8
Averaging,
million.
yeah, average
Yeah.
5.8 million viewers across 4 networks.
Yeah, so there were more networks as well, and there was no paywall. So I would say this is pretty good, but just in general, people really wanted to see a live sporting event for once in 2 months.
Yeah, I mean, there was not a lot of action. I mean, as I like to see, because I like to see high flying passes and big hits and stuff. But you know, I
Yeah,
mean,
like Ultimate.
the biggest. Well, there's no big hits in Ultimate. I would hope not. If there's a big hit in Ultimate, then you're not playing the game right. That's just what
I
it is.
mean, it's just the next evolution of Ultimate.
Uh, not my evolution of Ultimate. I'm gonna stick to the level of throw and catch and run. That's it.
So I'm gonna cross you off the list. You're not gonna join my Ultimate League.
No, I'm not doing nothing crazy like wearing pads and a helmet and diving for uh, uh, ultimate. Whatever. I ain't doing
A
that.
frisbee.
I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm not. I don't even dive for frisbees when I'm playing out there. I run. If I
You
can't
don't you
catch it,
don't lay out, bro. You don't lay
no,
out.
my body ain't gonna let me do that no more.
Yeah, I was thinking about coming out there the other day, and I was like, I'm gonna walk first. let's walk before we run, kids. Let's
I
walk before we run.
mean, I'll tell you what. The first day I got back out there after a couple months, actually quite a few months
Mm,
of not playing, and that first week
hmm
that I ended up playing, I couldn't walk. Period. I just couldn't walk.
The whole week.
At least until Wednesday. I couldn't
Ooh,
walk very very well, and then
yeah.
my body slowly healed and got back to it, and then I played again the next week like a dummy, and I actually it was much better that next week. Like I didn't.
Okay.
Well, this next week, meaning this past Sunday, uh,
Gotcha.
and
Gotcha.
yeah, I played, and after that, after Monday I went in. I was a little sore, but it's all a matter of keep playing.
Yeah, I think I've said this to you, and I may have said it on the podcast, but I saw a tweet that I immediately had to like and retweet the other day. Basically, once you turn 30, you're either in pain because you're not working out or because you are working out.
Yeah,
So you
that's
might
so
as well just go
accurate.
out there. You might as
That
well
is
go out
so
there and do your
accurate.
thing.
Mm. 'Cause, yeah, I'm always in pain. You know,
Yeah, and let's just hope it's for the right reasons, right?
yeah,
Hope it's because you're
it's
getting
just
back in shape.
you know,
It sucks because as your kid, you're just like, oh yeah, I can just bounce back, no big deal, and you don't realize that's a blessing. That's a
I
major
mean,
blessing.
I think half of the problem is I feel like I could still be a kid and go out there and run and
Yep.
not have to warm up, not have to stretch.
Hmm.
Kids, when you turn 30, you gotta warm up. You gotta stretch. I mean, no, you should be doing that in high school.
Yes.
You should be learning those habits in high school. My coach, he was very adamant about us doing the little things at the beginning, warming
Yeah.
up, stretching, making sure that we do that at a high level. If we do that at a
Right.
high level, then the game is easy peasy. That and the fact that he always taught that practice is the most important thing. If you practice hard, you're gonna make the
Hmm.
game easy. And
Yeah.
that was out to be true. But the one thing that I didn't get from him was the fact that I need to
Yeah.
warm up and stretch. That was not on my docket. So
Yeah. No, it's one of those things you gotta keep doing throughout life. I
yeah,
find out just stretching alone. I finally got a what do they call those things, like a massage gun or whatever, for
you
my
have one?
muscles, and
Oh,
yeah, I finally got one.
I
Finally
need
got one.
one.
It's a cheap one, but it's just one of those things you have to do when you get older. You just got to make sure you take care of your body, um, and I'm trying to do that as well.
I don't know Jack, so I don't know how to take care of my body. So
Oh, please, says the one who's a certified trainer.
there was. I let that expire, so I'm not certified anymore. I still know it. I see. That's what I'm saying. I know the stuff I need to do.
Yeah.
Just doing it is the part that needs to work.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, hey, the XFL knew what they had to do, and they just weren't able to get it done. We're going to transition
Great
into a story.
segue.
I mean, I try. We're trying to get into this topic about the XFL. This is a tough one because it's not necessarily their fault, but there have been so many things that have come up surrounding the impending bankruptcy of the XFL.
Hmm.
I think you know a little bit more about this than I do, so I'm gonna let you take it, Hugh. I'm gonna
Well,
let
I
you run
mean,
with it.
I don't know that much more. I mean, I know what I've seen. Well, the owner Vince McMahon, for
Yes, my guy.
he's
Well, he's not really my guy. He's a WWE guy.
WWE guy. Yeah, I used
Yeah.
to love watching Raw and SmackDown back in the day when those like
Yep.
came on at 12 o'clock at night. Sneak and watch that.
Yeah. When your parents couldn't tell you anything.
Exactly. So he's brought a lot of entertainment throughout the years. But he formed or not formed. The XFL was around, and
Yep.
then it was disbanded, and then he bought the rights to it and wanted to bring it back. So he brought it back for a year. I feel like it was a success in the year that it had gone on
I liked what they
because
were doing. I like what they were trying. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, I think in my opinion, I thought it was going in the right direction because I mean,
Hmm.
obviously they helped make some kind of changes in the NFL itself. I mean, the
Yeah.
NFL is starting to propose the whole fourth and 15 for
Yes,
onside
I love
kicks.
that rule. I love that.
Yeah, they're going to take away. There have been talking about taking away kickoff, which I don't think that's going to ever materialize
No.
per se. But there are some things that the XFL has had done that was influenced the decisions in the competition committee on the NFL.
Yes.
And so the owner of the XFL, Vince McMahon, officially filed for bankruptcy on April 13th.
Mm.
So basically saying that because of the corona pandemic and unforeseen impact,
Yep.
financial impact, that sorry, my dogs are in here. So yeah, the unforeseen impact of the coronavirus pandemic was the reason why he decided to file for bankruptcy because
Yep.
it's a fairly new league. He only had what 2 point something. He only has 2 point something $1 billion. That's a lot of money. Only
Only.
has exactly.
Only.
And so he I guess financially he can only fund them for a certain amount of time, and hopefully revenue from ticket sales and merchandise and all that would pick up.
Yeah.
Obviously, the pandemic put a whole monkey wrench in all of that, and
Yep.
so he had to lay off the staff for XFL. That was the first thing to go, and so now
Yeah.
he's filed for bankruptcy. So the committee, the committee that he has that he secured the loans for the creditors. The
Hmm.
committee for unsecured creditors claims that McMahon he set what they call a fire sale. So they're accusing him of trying to basically set up a bidding process that would help them help him gain
Hmm.
back power, the buying power, but gain back the ownership of the league once it's sold.
Hmm.
So the committee didn't the creditors that gave him some of the money to help fund this whole thing
Yeah.
were not very happy with what he tried to do, and so
Gotcha.
it's a whole different level of financial um things that I don't even understand. Like I mean
Yeah.
that's
Could
stuff
be
that
some
millionaires and billionaires
fraud.
understand. Exactly. Stuff that
Yeah.
millionaires and billionaires understand that I can't even comprehend.
Well, yeah, it's definitely you got to be in a certain tax bracket to really understand how to go about doing this. But it's you know, uh, buy low, sell high. He's
Yeah.
basically trying to say, I'm going to sell this. Well, actually, in this case,
He's
he's just
selling
going to
low
sell
so he
it.
can buy it back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and he's going to buy it back low as well.
Yeah.
So, and he just doesn't want to have to pay any of the creditors.
That
What?
was the point that they were
Yeah,
trying to make.
yeah,
He's trying to get it to where if he sold it, they get the people that had to buy it have to pay the creditors. He'll buy it back and not have to pay a dime back
yep,
of what he borrowed. And
yep,
so they're trying to if for all this to work, he has to basically sell his rights to everything, and
yes.
virtually, he could probably buy stocks in it, but he'll never be the owner,
The
president,
owner, the founder.
exactly
Yeah,
of the XFL anymore. So
yeah.
a lot going on with the XFL. Like I said, it's like the AAF. The AAF was kind of a different situation. They literally couldn't manage their money.
In the middle of
Uh,
the season.
and yeah, throughout the middle of the season, now Vince McMahon is kind of managing it too well at this point. If that makes sense,
And
he's
yeah, in a
trying to
shady
play
way.
out. Yeah, he's trying to play the system a little too much.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know
I mean, everybody, I don't think everybody would go about it this way, but everybody doesn't want to lose money on their investment. So,
exactly. Exactly, and
um,
I don't necessarily blame him. I mean, I wish I could say that I'm ethical enough to say that I wouldn't do that. But if that was a route I could take to save my money and not have to pay creditors back and not have to do any of this stuff and still make a revenue off of it, eh,
yeah.
I can't
But
say I wouldn't do it. I just couldn't.
true. But there were huge issues even in the beginning of this. So obviously the XFL was a thing way back in 2002 or something like that when Vince tried to introduce it. Um, but the second time around, he had to leverage some of his WWE stock because that's where most of his wealth is kind of located. He had to leverage some of that stock and draw credit on that stock in order to fund the XFL. And then he got into a fight with some of his WWE shareholders because they didn't want to be on the hook for anything. And it's just been a mess from the beginning.
Mm,
Vince, he may be a wrestling genius and
genius.
legend,
Yeah.
but every time you start talking about business with Vince, it's always like I don't know if I would ever do
Well,
business with that
I
guy.
mean, if we're being fair, anybody that knows how to be a business person
Mm-hmm.
is going to be ruthless like that. They're going to understand how to play the game. They're going to understand how. I mean, look at Donald Trump. He is when they say he's a business person, this man
Mm-hmm.
knows how to play the business game. He is not he is not a millionaire for nothing. I mean, this guy knows how to.
Billion, according to him, billion.
Well, I see. I can't quantify that because I don't know his tax return, so I'm not going to give him that credit. I at least know he's made a couple million, so I
Yeah.
will give him million until we see his tax returns. But um, you have to know how to play the system. That's because it's all that sales is. It's all that business is there's no such thing as honorable business now. Especially
Uh,
especially I mean there is. I would like to think that there are business people that are, and
yeah.
there are. I mean, mom and pop stores. I think they do it right sometimes, but you get to these corporate level businesses. I'm not calling all corporate. I'm across the board. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just
Yeah,
saying
but it's definitely something you see a lot of.
exactly. There's a pattern of how corporate businesses become corporate businesses.
Yes.
There is a pattern.
Yes.
So
Yeah, without a doubt. It's just like the competition field, right?
mm,
If you're not bringing that Mamba mentality, if you don't have Jordan-esque chips on your shoulder,
mm,
like sometimes that's what it takes to be great. That's what it takes to be at the top of the game,
you
top of the food
sacrifice
chain.
something to be great.
Yeah, and so same thing
Sometimes it's
happens in the
morality.
business world. Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. I hope that there's still clean, good business out there. You don't have to sacrifice your morality because one of these days they're going to be talking about us as billionaires, right, Hugh?
Of course. What do you? Yes.
Is that even a question?
Is that a question? No, exactly.
Oh
And
my
hopefully it's
goodness.
not going to be shady, but I can't promise none.
We were
That's all I'm
so
saying.
close. We were so close.
I will be honest with the jump. I can't promise that I'm gonna be unethical. I'm gonna be ethical the whole way through.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, I would like to say I
Allegedly.
will. Allegedly.
Allegedly. All
I'm
right,
just,
with
I'm just,
that,
I'm just learning from the people who, on top. Learn from the
oh
people on top.
man. Let's pick and choose the ones. Let's pick and choose the ones that we want to learn from.
Oh my
Oh
goodness.
man. Okay. Let's get into the hot topic of the week. Uh,
Yes.
this
Talking
was a
about
big one.
talking about ethics.
Yeah, exactly. It's talking about ethics, talking about running a major corporation. The NFL is a machine, money printing machine at this point. And so yeah, let's talk about how ethics and business kind of intersect. This I don't even know where to start because you have to start this out with George Floyd and what happened, right? I don't think there's any way you can.
I can go back a lot further. There are more names that started this besides George. George was the cap to it all. And
Yes,
I'm not trying to make a pun there. I'm just saying
no cap.
uh, he, he he was literally the end of
Well,
the boiling pot. Like it got to the point that it's
yeah,
so hot it just popped.
Yeah. And I think the reason why we're talking about this today and the reason why Roger Goodell said what he said, and we'll get into that, is because of what we're seeing with the tragic death of George Floyd
Yes,
at the hands of police officers who were supposed to serve and protect. Even if you commit a crime, allegedly,
allegedly.
um, you should still have the chance to um, have a trial by your peers. There's no reason for you
Isn't
to
it
have to be
called due
murdered in the street.
process?
Exactly.
Isn't it called innocent until proven guilty?
Exactly. Liberty and justice for all. So that goes without saying. It's plain and simple that shouldn't have happened to George Floyd. And he also was a high school football player.
I
Is
believe
that
so.
is that
Yeah.
correct? Friends of I don't know if how close of friends, but friends with Steven Jackson, who played basketball in the NBA and who's also
Yes.
a sports
He
podcaster
talks
now.
about that actually. Yeah.
Yeah, he was out there protesting for Big Floyd, as they call him. So it was just a horrible situation that occurred. Protests on all 50 states, protests around the world. I, with everything that's gone on with the coronavirus, obviously that kind of plays into what's happening as well. People are just kind of sick of everything in general.
Yeah.
And then
I
on top
mean,
of this, you see this, and it's like, ah, come on.
yeah. I mean, people stuck in their houses already. They already ready to explode, and this happens. Oh,
Yeah,
it was just a perfect storm of chaos, like you said.
yeah,
Perfect storm
absolutely.
of chaos.
And so I don't know the exact timeline on this. I don't know, Jack. I should have done a little bit more research, but there was a video that was released by I think 10 NFL players of
Yes.
10
That was
black
released.
NFL players
That was released last week.
last week.
I don't know. I don't know exactly. It probably. I think it was later into the week. Like, but yeah, that's when I saw a lot of posts about it.
Yeah,
It was a lot of the major NFL
major
names.
NFL names.
Yeah.
Yeah, not Deshaun, DeAndre Hopkins,
Yeah. Deshaun Watson was
um,
in it.
Deshaun Watson. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl champion. Patrick
Yes.
Mahomes was in it, so
Yes.
that was a big deal. He's not that it matters, but he's half black, half white, I believe.
Yeah.
He's
I
of
mean,
mix.
yeah, and just prominent,
Yeah,
big stars that wanted to put their voice out, and they did. I thought it was a beautiful uh, collage of you know emotion,
yeah,
a beautiful expression of the raw emotion that people are feeling around the country. I mean,
yeah.
commemorating
George
these.
Floyd's memory.
Yes, George Floyd, the guy Ahmad Aubrey,
Yes,
Breonna Taylor, I
Taylor.
believe her name is. Like all of
Hmm.
these, I mean, it's just they're just
Just
commemorating.
back to back to back. Yeah,
Yes, and what they put out, it was just incredible to watch. I mean, the NFL, the players are doing what they some.
yeah,
Some of the players are doing what they can, speaking out,
yeah.
doing it right. Um, and
And we'll get into one very famous quarterback that had a lot of interesting things to say at
yes,
first.
I was trying to dance around it. You saw that. But
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like, in cooperation with Colin Kaepernick and what he was going through well before this, because he was already on the lines when things popped off. Like, I believe it popped off when Michael Brown first got, you know, uh,
well, yeah, but let's go real quick. Let's talk about Goodell, and then we'll go back to how this
okay.
incorporates the cap movement. I just want to touch really quickly on Goodell and how he responded to that video from
Hmm.
the very prominent NFL players.
Hmm.
He the NFL basically said they got it wrong. Goodell basically said, "Hey, we got this all wrong. We want to apologize," which was huge.
Yes.
Um, we want to say that obviously Black Lives Matter. That's a point that should have been said a long time ago.
Right.
And then also when it comes to the anthem protests, popularized by Colin Kaepernick, the former NFL quarterback, who may or may not have been blackballed, and there was a whole court case and
Allegedly.
settlement. Yeah, um, yeah, they just said we got it wrong. We see now through this George Floyd incident that there are still injustices. We know for a fact that the movement that Kaepernick started was co-opted. It was never about disrespect for the military, never about disrespect for America. It was about America living up to the values that it preaches about, the values that it holds dear, like life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Right.
So it was just, for me, it was astonishing. I did not expect this. When I saw the video from the NFL players, I was like, oh, okay, that's big, that's awesome. I mean, Patrick Mahomes was in there. Young guy, seems very in touch with who he is. Very obviously very confident coming off a Super Bowl. Just big, big names voicing their opinions on this situation. But when I saw Goodell respond, I was blown away. I don't know how you felt about that, but for me, it was
Well,
huge.
I mean, and this will go into what I feel about Drew Brees too and what he said.
Mm,
But I'm not, like I said, we'll get into him in a minute. But the fact that I don't want to be pessimistic or very skeptical of people's motives,
mm.
but I am very skeptical of people's motives because
Trust
if
and verify.
because look, this is I look at patterns. I like to see the
Yeah.
patterns of what goes on in communities, what goes on with people, with public figures, police and whatnot.
Hmm.
There is a very realistic pattern that's going on. Um,
Yep.
when something goes wrong the first time, there are these people that say, "Oh, this is not the way to do it." Something goes
Yeah.
wrong a second time. Yeah, I don't know. The third time, you know, it's to a point. It's to a boiling point, and
Yep.
then when things are the way that people have been preaching they were in the past, they want to apologize and say, "Oh, we should have done this."
Should have
If you
listened at the
believe,
time. Yeah.
if you believed in that in the first place, you wouldn't be at that point to apologize. So at
Yeah.
at this point, I'm just like I'm very skeptical about apologies. I'm very skeptical about, and I'm not saying that I don't accept the apology. I'm
Yeah.
not saying that they're not sincere. I'm just
Yeah.
saying. I mean, let's just get right into it. Drew Brees, what he said about the national anthem, about he feels like
Yeah.
kneeling, huh?
Oh, sorry. Go
Yeah,
ahead. I was just saying that. Yeah. Give the listeners the backstory on what
yeah.
Bree said.
So basically, Drew Brees basically kind of repeated what they were saying about Colin Kaepernick a while back, saying
Hmm.
that kneeling for the national anthem is disrespectful to the flag,
Yep.
disrespectful to the veterans and the service members that gave
Yep.
their life because he came from a military family, this, that, and the other.
Hmm.
Which I mean, I respect that. I respect that opinion. I do. I respect that is there are certain people that have that opinion.
Yeah.
However, this is not the time to do that. This was not the time to do that. I mean, people were hurt. People are hurting. This is
Yes.
this is not the time to make it a political whatever. I mean, we can
Well,
have that
so the
discussion. Go ahead.
yeah, sorry, just a little bit more background. He was asked on this podcast. I apologize, I forget the name of the podcast, but he was asked the question. If NFL players decide to kneel again for the upcoming season, what would be your response to that, or what would be your take on that
Hmm.
action? Would you be in favor of it or basically against it? Right. That was
Mhm.
the kind of the idea or
Mhm.
the context around that question
Mhm.
and around Drew Brees' answer. And he's the quarterback of the New Orleans Saints, a city that has a lot of black people, a lot of black culture historically. It just a very cultured city.
Mhm.
Um, and obviously went through Katrina in 2005, where
Right.
there was a question about whether Black lives really mattered to America at that point because of how aid was not given to the survivors of the hurricane
Right.
in what people feel is a decent amount of time. And so Drew Brees has been a big part of kind of bringing that city up, helped them win a Super Bowl, has been active in the community. So a lot of people were surprised of his stance on this, especially since we all know Kaepernick met with a Green Beret, an
Yes.
Army service member,
And
and after he sat down for the anthem, and then he talked with him and he said, "Okay, you know what? Maybe Kaepernick, maybe you should kneel instead of sitting, because a lot of people kneel to respect service members that have fallen. Right? You kneel
yes.
at their graveside, or generally speaking, people kneel in church when they pray. So
I
it's
mean,
a
even
sign of respect,
yeah,
you know?
even if we could even put it on the field, like when a player gets hurt, what do the players do? They kneel.
They kneel. They kneel out of respect. You can pray for them, make sure they're not hurt.
Exactly.
Pray that they're not hurt that bad.
Right.
And so this has always been the case. So to hear Drew Brees come in a little tone deaf after what you were going to say, this started back in 2016?
Yes.
Yeah.
When I believe that was when Michael Brown was a victim of police
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 shooting.
brutality.
Hmm.
I again we can't get into the whole thing of yes, obviously criminals need to be caught. Obviously that people need to follow the rules and the law and the laws to not be able to have the put themselves in that in the first place.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, there are violent criminals that get to have a happy meal before they go to jail. So,
Yeah.
like, if
Hmm.
for in George Floyd's case, he was allegedly using fake money, allegedly.
Allegedly, yes.
Well, it's not proven, but he died for that.
Yeah.
Um, and so this is why the players and everybody is protesting. This is why the players. This is why Colin Kaepernick had started this a long time ago because this was a
Yep.
problem a long time ago. This didn't just happen.
Yep.
But this is why I'm very skeptical of different apologies and not trying to judge them. But I'm skeptical because if Drew Brees had felt a different way, he wouldn't have said what he said. But
Yes.
because of the
Yes.
scrutiny that he got and the fact that it could affect his cash flow, uh, it was he had to apologize. Same thing with Roger
Hmm.
Goodell. Roger Goodell understands if the players don't play, we don't get paid. So
Yeah.
we need to make sure we appease somewhat to the players. So
Yeah.
there is a level of skepticism I have in the apologies that are going on. The
Yeah.
NFL, the Roger Goodell. I haven't yet to hear owners of these teams come out and say,
Mm.
okay, we understand what's going on. We understand Colin Kaepernick. I mean,
Yeah.
does he deserve to have a job in the NFL? I don't know. It depends on how he does in workouts. It depends on how he does in training camps. It depends on
Yeah.
how the
How
his
much money
play.
he wants and all that stuff.
Exactly. It depends on his physical attributes on the field. What does he look like? I'm
Yeah.
not gonna go in and say he needs a job. Just give him a job just because he's Colin Kaepernick.
No,
Don't
yeah.
don't, don't
Which
do that.
multiple players are kind of
Right.
doing that. They
Right.
I saw even Reverend Al Sharpton was like, Kaepernick needs to be in the league. I'm like, I think Kaepernick can play because when you look at the
Still.
list of quarterbacks,
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure Kaepernick can play or be a backup somewhere. But it's all about Kaepernick and whether he's willing to take a role in the NFL, even if it's not the role that he wants.
Exactly. And
I think that was the initial part of like when he was leaving San Francisco. It was like, no, you want too much money. We're not going to give you that much money. So
right.
there's a whole lot that goes into the Kaepernick situation. I think he has the skills to play in the league, as far as I know. If he's staying in shape, still a good quarterback. Um, but these apologies, they don't. I don't think they necessarily ring hollow. I want to say that Drew Brees. I mean, when your wide receiver Mike Thomas calls you out, when you're Malcolm Jenkins is now with the Saints, right? New Orleans.
I believe, yeah, he went back to the Saints. I
Yeah.
believe.
So you have two teammates calling you out almost immediately.
Yes.
I mean, you have to listen. So I'm assuming that's what Drew Brees did. Is he listened? He
I,
listened and he said, "Okay, I think there's more to the story here. I need to figure out what's going on."
well, I mean, if you looked at uh, anybody that's paying attention to what's going on,
Yeah.
he was being roasted in social media. He was being roasted on every platform, sports platform that was
Yeah.
going on, undisputed. I mean, all these sports platforms were kind of going in on him. So when you have all this kind of, it's just like protesting. When you have millions and millions of people
Yeah.
in the country, nay, the world,
Yeah.
protesting about one thing, look how much reform is starting to happen. I mean,
Yes.
there's
Everybody's united.
right, there's, well, not even that. There's, I mean, look at the police union. Again, I have a little bit of skepticism about what they're doing, but
Hmm.
as far as what they're putting out there, I mean, duty
Yeah.
to, what is it called? Duty to intervene. The whole thing about officers, if an officer sees something that goes on, the other officers around them have a duty to intervene. So if, say,
Yeah.
like, if somebody puts their knee on somebody's neck, on a criminal's neck, the
Yeah.
other officers have a duty to push the officer away from them. That
Yeah.
is a start. That is a start.
Yeah.
You have a
Police
duty to
policing each other. Yeah.
exactly that you have that. I mean, banning of certain techniques that police have used in previous in previous years,
Yeah.
chokeholds, different other takedown techniques
Yeah.
that they have used. They're starting to ban all those. There's a wide uh, 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 there's a wide movement of defunding the police. Now, that gets a little tricky because at the end of the day, you have
Womp
to,
womp.
yeah, you have to be careful because some people are like defund the police and just let's police ourselves. That's not gonna
There
work.
are there are people out there that don't want police to exist. Like literally no police in any city. And I'm just
And
like,
and that's not
what
gonna work.
what does
That's
that
not gonna
do?
work.
That
That's
doesn't
not gonna
do
work.
anything.
I fully believe, I'll be the first on here to say, police
Hmm.
have a place in society. They do have
Amen.
a place in society.
Preach.
Now, who's policing the police is going to be the issue. We have
Yeah.
supposedly in our government a system of checks and balances.
Yeah.
So the House is supposed to check the president, the Senate is supposed to check this, and the legislative branch is checked by the judicial branch, and the
Yep.
judicial. We go back and forth about this is middle school stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
At the
Government
end of the
class.
day, who is keeping the police accountable? And
Yeah. That's
and
a problem.
and so this is why, bringing it back to sports, this is why the players are doing what they do. This is why it's going to affect
Hmm.
revenue of the leagues, and this is why I believe
Yep.
personally that this year we're going to see more kneeling than ever before.
Yep.
Like, I mean, the fact that you may not even have fans in the stadium, and this whole
Yeah. So
thing is
what does
going
it
on.
matter? You're not
Exactly.
gonna hear the booze coming in
Exactly.
and
So I mean,
yeah.
it's at the end of the day, we're so deprived of sports. We don't care. I mean,
Yeah.
they might not even televise the national anthem, which
Yeah.
will probably make sense
I
in the
mean,
space that we're in right now.
I'm old enough to remember when they didn't televise the
Right.
national anthem.
Exactly.
So, I mean, there was a period where Fox, CBS, all of the channels would just say, "Oh, this is a chance to get a quick commercial in, and we'll be right back after the national anthem." Like it wasn't a thing that they televised on TV. So,
Exactly.
um, I I just don't get it. I don't understand why it took so long for people to see. I mean, then again, perspective is everything. If you don't have that perspective, and if you hear a certain narrative pushed by the president of the United States, you got to say it. The president of the United States was pushing the narrative about firing those, SO whatevers. So I just I'm glad that it's come full circle and we're able to see exactly what Kaepernick was talking about. And I've in the time, I guess in the last 2 weeks or so, I've been able to see videos of people posting what Kaepernick actually said in 2016.
Yeah, I mean,
What?
it's not that hard to figure out what he actually said and what he meant. I mean,
Yeah,
everybody's saying, "Oh, he did that for the publicity. He did this for just to get money, this and that." I mean, this dude lost millions of dollars, millions,
yeah,
because he sacrificed something. He sacrificed his playing career virtually for what he believed. He was not going to resist that,
yeah,
and that's what makes Kaepernick so special in this fight,
yep,
because he didn't he did, the pressure was on him. Everybody in
yeah,
America hated this guy, like
yep,
hated this guy, but he still
big time.
stood up for what he did, what he believed. That
Yep,
is more impressive to me than anybody else saying, "Oh, I'm you know I stand with the veterans and this that." I mean, veterans standing with Kaepernick,
yeah,
like I mean,
yeah.
it's hard to believe.
Yeah, it's just like, again, perspective is everything, but it just seems like it was very clear. At the beginning, his stance wasn't as clear. He wore the pig socks or whatever, but
Yeah, that was on
like
the yeah.
over time, it was very clear what he was trying to do, what he
He
was
matured.
protesting.
He
Yeah,
matured.
he
Yeah.
matured, he listened, and he grew. He knew how to actually move and get his point across. And by that point, nobody was listening. Everybody just wanted to create their own narrative,
Yeah. Well,
and it was very bad.
yeah. I mean, once you want, it's what I keep telling, because I have debates online all the time, and
Stop it! You shouldn't do it. It's
I
bad
know
for
I
your
shouldn't.
health.
I know
It's
I
bad for
shouldn't,
your
but I,
health.
I love
Just write a
bands.
blog post, bro.
I
Write a
love
blog post.
banter sometimes. I just love banter. But this is what I keep telling people, especially if I'm talking to them face to face, or if I'm talking to a stranger on social media. I'm just like, as soon as you start degrading somebody or posting negatively or saying you're a moron or this, that, and the other, that's the
Mhm.
fact. That's the time when people quit listening. That's the time
Yeah.
where people quit respecting your opinion, respecting what you have to say. And
Yes.
this goes into what Kaepernick did. Once he did that whole wearing the sock with the pig, the costume
Yep.
pig, whatever, people
Yep.
stopped listening. So
Exactly.
it's all about delivery. It's all about how you deliver the message.
Yes. I A lot of times, you hear people say he was an imperfect messenger, but it's funny how history, like, hindsight is kind of 2020,
Hmm.
and over time you really get the full picture of somebody, and we remember somebody differently as things kind of play out. Because
Hmm.
Kaepernick, if he makes it back to the NFL, if you multiple players calling for him to come back, he almost came back last year when he
Hmm.
had his workout. But then there was a whole debacle there. I think there's a very good chance he gets signed this year, and if he does, that's legendary status right there. You're going to talk about him like Muhammad Ali and
And see, that's what they're
LeBron
afraid of.
James and Jim Brown.
That is what they're afraid of, because look at all the icons throughout history. Martin Luther
Yeah,
King. Uh, uh, you know, um, that's what I can only
Jackie
think of right now.
Robinson.
Yeah, exactly. So like, like all these, you look at. I mean, I was just thinking about it today. I was like, a lot of the stuff that you think about,
Yeah,
um, all these iconic, influential people,
yes,
is you don't remember. You remember probably about half of what they did when they were alive, but you remember
hmm,
how they died. and what they left after they died.
Yeah, that
So
legacy lives on.
exactly. So if you, I mean, if God forbid something happened to Kaepernick, you just know how he's got his name etched in the record in the history books forever. Like, I
Yeah,
mean, and I'm not wishing anything bad on Kaepernick. I'm just saying that that's the way it is, because people like George Floyd,
yeah,
they're not going to remember what we didn't even know who George Floyd was when he was alive. Now
yes,
we just know him as a casualty of this fight. His name is etched in the history books forever.
absolutely.
So I mean,
Rest in peace, Big Floyd.
it's something else.
It's tough. It's really really tough. I'm because we're a sports show. Obviously, we're focusing heavily on how this protest, how what happened to George Floyd impacts the sports world. There's support everywhere, but especially in this particular instance where Cap 3 4 years ago was kneeling just for this purpose. It's just it's amazing to see what's happened
Hmm.
just in these last few weeks, and how
Hmm.
again it just all comes full circle.
Uh,
Yeah, so I think the only way we can really remember George Floyd properly and to really enact some change is to get out there and volunteer where you can, where you feel comfortable, and then also if you would like to donate. Um, you want to take this? Is your boy Malcolm Jenkins? You want to talk about his foundation?
yeah, I can talk about it. Malcolm Jenkins has a foundation at the Malcolm Jenkins Foundation.org, where he does a lot of outreach. It's called the Power Pathway Academy, and basically they are reaching the more impoverished uh, communities in the New Jersey, Louisiana, Ohio, and Pennsylvania area. They're trying to teach people how to work, how to do good community service, how to be physically responsible, just basically how to get out of their communities, how to better themselves in their communities, and how to give back to their communities. Is his
Absolutely.
passion and what he's trying to do. And we're able to donate. You can make donations online. You can mail it in. Um, we'll have the links to all that in our
Show notes.
bios and our show notes and stuff. And
Yeah.
I will definitely do. I'm definitely also going to do a blog about all the stuff that we've been talking about, the social injustice, and how that impacts sports in a major way. So I
Yes.
will have the link to this foundation posted in that as well.
Awesome. That is good stuff, man. So definitely follow us so you can get that information. We are on Twitter at YDKJ Podcast, and we are also on Instagram. I'll try my best to get that link in the bio as well. If you choose to donate, there are also other great causes as well. The Equal Justice Initiative, as well as other movements like Black Lives Matter. But as far as sports are concerned, yeah, definitely check out Malcolm Jenkins and what he's doing in his community, um, and bettering the world. Right, it's all of our communities.
That's it.
Um, Go ahead and email us. Let us know what you think about sports restarting. We're incredibly excited about that, to actually see some live sports for once in about a month or so. It's gonna be a lot to talk about. So go ahead and email us ydkjpodcast@gmail.com. Please subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, other podcast platforms, and as well, please hit us up on YouTube. Leave comments. Let us know um, what you think about the show, and yeah, catch our video podcast posted over on YouTube. We'll put some links in the bio of our Instagram and Twitter as well for that. Please check out our website where we blog from time to time. More blogs coming soon. That is ydkjpodcast.com. Again, that's ydkjpodcast.com. And I think that about does it trying to get everybody to follow, listen, and subscribe, and tell your friends about us. Help us
Tell them
grow
all.
the audience a little bit.
Exactly. We want to reach 1.7K subscriptions and likes here in within the next year. That is
Yeah.
our goal. If you can help us reach that, that'll be amazing.
Yes, absolutely. I like that. You actually have a number in mind. We're gonna have to
Hey, I
talk,
have
man.
a
That's
number
awesome.
by the
That's
end. I
awesome.
mean, goal oriented, baby. Goal oriented.
Yeah, got to move the needle forward, right? Got to
Exactly.
move the needle just a little bit. All right, Randy, shout out again. We missed you in this one, man. We He will be in the next one. We'll be good to go. The team will be back in full force. Um, and I think that's about it.
Oh,
This
merch.
is
Merch for us. We'll have some merch coming for us coming soon. Hopefully in the next month. If you guys want some merch, uh, we'll work something out. So
well, we'll
so,
sport it first on the show, and then
exactly.
let you guys know how fly. Does anybody use fly anymore?
No, the kids on they
How lit the fit is?
lit.
How lit
You
the
know
fit
that
is.
thing was slapping. I don't know the lingo personally. I'm kind of an
Yeah.
old head. That thing was.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Same
think was
here. Same
fire.
here.
I think fire was
Yeah, they
was
still say
back in
fire,
the
right?
early 2000s. Now
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'm stuck in the 2000s, early 2000s.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm just in this middle zone, right? It's like I'm not old, but I'm not young either, and it's very
Yeah,
clear that I'm not young.
like it's like you're a millennial.
Yeah. And with that, this is You Don't Know Jack. We are the Outsiders Looking In. My name is Chris Brown,
I'm Hubert Maitland.
and we'll catch you in the next one. Be safe, be well, sports.
Peace.